Welcome to Busted Speakers. I'm Alex,
And I'm Cam.
and today we're reviewing the second album from Dua Lipa, Future Nostalgia. Been aware of her music for quite a while now because she's just been a regular fixture of the radio in the UK. I think Be the One was the first sort of song that kind of became a hit here. And then, she's had some other good songs that have caught my attention from her first album, like Genesis, Lost in Your Light. Those were kind of my two favourites. And then I think New Rules. That might be the first time you would have heard of her, Cam.
I honestly don't know because I don't listen to the radio, the radio. I only ever
Yeah.
hear anything when I'm out in public. But I've heard of her, and I found the complete edition of her first album at Goodwill sometime last year, and I've only heard it once or twice so far.
Yeah, and I've also became aware of that album, and yeah, like I say, I like those songs from it. Generally pretty decent. It did feel very much like standard pop to me. Like, her voice was definitely the best aspect, and I thought, get her voice on a different sort of production style and singing much catchier songs than this sort of standard pop lane she was in on her first album. She could make something special. That was a distinct thought I had listening to her first album. Then she did work with Calvin Harris on One Kiss, and I did think, okay, that's kind of what I was thinking of. But I could not have imagined, in all of my wildest dreams, that the quantum leap, the unimaginable step from her first album to this would happen. I did not ever expect that. I thought it would take quite a few albums to get to this step, or maybe it would never happen at all. But yeah, here we are, Future Nostalgia. What were your sort of general thoughts on this album, Cam?
General thoughts, I agreed with you pretty much with the first album. It's all good stuff and it's all well performed, but there just wasn't really anything that stood out about it aside from her voice. But even then, her voice, even on this album, I think it kind of sounds maybe just a little too similar to some other modern singers you could point to. But at the same time, on this one, the songs are, just so good, so catchy, so well produced that, it doesn't matter. And then maybe, someone could disagree with me and say, no, her voice is totally distinct, and I wouldn't argue. Just, it's really good stuff.
Yeah, I think her voice is pretty distinct. I mean,
Well, now I want to argue.
I just can't think of one that sounds specifically the same as her. So the opening single, Don't Start Now, I have heard that song literally about 75, 80 times on the radio. It was like a top 2 single, which if I say that, that just means it got to number 2 on the charts. And I've heard it maybe 2 times a day at work. And I can't lie, I've never gotten sick of it. Every time I hear the opening line, I got excited because I thought, yes, this really good song's about to start. And I've not gotten sick of it. That never happens with pop music. I always get sick of a song after 20 listens, unless it's like the Beatles or something. Well, I would say always, but I haven't heard most songs that many times and not gotten sick of it. But that's true here. Instantly, the bass line's really killer. All of the verses are really catchy, leading into the choruses. I really love the glitchy vocal refrains at the end of the choruses. I love the little laugh at the end of the song. Everything just comes together really well. And the best song she's ever made is actually a Live in LA remix of this song. I mean, the song's kind of disco anyway, but it has a disco intro to the song, which extends it to 5.5 minutes. If you thought, what's the way to improve a pretty good pop song, Cam? You wouldn't think adding a 1.5 minute intro to it would be the answer, would you?
I mean, depends on the artist and depends on the song.
Yeah, that's true. Those are factors, but that was the case here. That song pretty much led the way for my extreme excitement for this album, which I have to say was fully met here. This is my favourite album of the year so far.
Wow.
I mean, nothing competes with it. Name anything and it does not compete with it.
I don't dare.
Exactly. Okay, the title track, the opening track, was kind of released as the second song, but not the second single. It's weird because on RYM, songs like that can be classed as a single because it was released by itself, but it didn't get released to mainstream media, for example. They did that with After Hours by The Weeknd as well. That was released as a song, but it didn't get released to commercial radio.
That's weird.
It's they know it won't exactly be a hit, but they just want... It's for the fans, basically. That's what it's for. It's to get them extra excited. So the first song is that song, the title track, and You know, when I first heard it, I was like, this is a bit off-kilter and eclectic. It's a bit weird. It's like got very odd sort of vocal stylings. Like the main chorus part's kind of catchy, but like it's definitely got some weird ad hoc vocal phrasings here and there. It's got like that weird rap section near the end. But now I know what it was. It is the intro to the album. It's like the mission statement. It's like preparing you for what's ahead. Okay, so track 3 is Cool. This is a cool song, right?
Very cool. Cooler than Gwen Stefani's Cool. It's not cool.
Yeah, I was actually thinking that, like, that's the only other song I know called Cool, and that is a great song. So, this is a bit of a slower pace, and it's the first song on the album I didn't know before hearing it. It's got more of a raw vocal performance. I've heard some comparisons of this album to Carly Rae Jepsen. This is the only song on the album that sounds remotely like her to me, I'd say.
I mean, I could see it a little bit on some other songs.
Not at all for me.
But yeah, especially this one. This one definitely has kind of a dedicated feel to it, I'd say.
The song Want You In My Room is the main song from Dedicated that this reminds me of. Okay, so that's another good song. Physical, that was another single. I heard it maybe 5 times on the radio. It's a really big top 10 hit now, but it took a while for it to actually land. I think it was actually released as a single with the video a few weeks before it was released to mainstream radio, so that's why it was a bit of a delay in hearing it on the radio. This song is really good. It's probably does deserve to be as big a hit as Don't Start Now. There's a haunting quality to the way the synths sound in the background of the choruses, and it's one of the songs that sounds the most definitely 80s sounding, with the like keyboard sounds that it's like songs back in the 80s only had like some of them only had keyboard parts as the main instrumental, but this is also like that, so it works really well. And it is sort of a homage to the old Olivia Newton-John song Physical as well.
Yeah, I was wondering about that.
It is kind of the same chorus, and I don't know to the point of getting the same writing credit, but yeah, really good song. Now, my favourite song on here is actually probably Levitating. This song is overloaded with hooks. It's jam-packed. This is probably the catchiest use of a yeah, yeah, yeah type backing vocals I've ever heard in a song. Forget that Oh Yeah song from Green Day. Forget Cake by the Ocean by DNCE.
Oh, I'm trying to. Why did you have to mention that song? I hate you.
Yeah, those songs suck. Those songs are really bad uses of yeah type backing vocals. This song, though, Levitating, is amazing. It's fun, it's bouncy. The bass and guitar playing just bounce along to justify being in a song called Levitating. It's just so jam-packed with catchy hooks. There's like parts of the song I forget about after hearing it. Just amazing.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a weird comparison, but Levitating kind of struck me as like the song that You Need to Calm Down would be if it actually had a pulse.
That's a very weird comparison.
Like, I don't know, it's just like the rise and fall of the verse melody just kind of reminded me of that.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's actually a fair point now. I'm actually thinking of that song by Taylor Swift. Yeah, I get what you mean now. I just had to have a second to think about it.
Yeah, like I'd say those two, like aside from the title track, those two are probably my favorite, Physical and Levitating, just because that's a great 1-2 punch right there.
Yeah, I mean, my favourite's probably either Levitating or, I'll be honest, like, it is an amazing song, but Don't Start Now, I have heard it so many times, I'm just bowled over by these new songs I haven't heard before. Mm-hmm. So even though it might still be like the best song on here, it's not going to have the same enjoyability to me right now. If I didn't hear it again for a year, it might be my favourite again. Pretty Please. I love the spacious production of this song. It sequenced really well after Levitating, which was just overloaded with everything. Just feels like a sick bass line, really sparse beats to give full focus to her voice. It's not really a ballad, but it's definitely more of a subdued type of song. Like with quieter songs like this, it does add more elements as it goes on, like keyboards and guitar, so it gets kind of minimally funky towards the end. I also have to give credit to Break My Heart. Just why does this album have one of its best songs as the third last song? It's just quietly sitting there near the end.
Yeah, I think Break My Heart also kind of gave me Carly vibes to a degree.
Fair enough, I didn't explicitly get that, but I can kind of see that as well. When I first heard it, the bass line initially reminded me of Another One Bites the Dust. It's actually sampled from Need You Tonight by NXS.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't have caught that.
I wouldn't have caught that either, because the main focus of that song is the guitar. The bass is kind of hidden behind it. So this bass line, once you know that, you can kind of hear it, but It just feels like its own bass line. It's incorporated really well into this. I love how the chorus like syncs up with the bass line and everything else stops. It's really, really good. Probably the best effort at being a sort of pseudo disco song for me. The tight groove of the guitar and bass is something that Chic would probably be quite proud of if they made it up. I liked your comparison to Your Woman on a.
I think it was Love Again.
Yeah, that's right. You thought it was like the Imperial March.
Yeah, like because I must have heard Your Woman by Whitetown just like out in public somewhere, because it's just like so familiar to me, and I just always assumed that it was because I always knew about the Star Wars theme Cantina Band remix or whatever by
Yeah.
Miko, and like I knew that he had also done other remixes of other movie themes and stuff like that, including the Imperial March. So I just always assumed that that was from some disco-y remix of it. But A, it's not strings. Apparently it's muted trumpet. And B, it's like lifted from a Bing Crosby song. But like I listened to that Bing Crosby song, I couldn't hear that anywhere. So it must be like super edited down from a few different places or something.
Yeah, that's a really weird lineage from a Bing Crosby song to end up on a really, really solid 2020s pop album. Like that, whoever recorded that never would have thought something that they played would still be in circulation nowadays. You could never imagine that.
Yeah.
It's just not even something that could have possibly came into their minds. Good research, Cam.
Thanks.
Yeah, and it's really weird when you mention that because I actually back and kind of hear the Imperial March in the sample of Your Woman in Love Again. And it's not just a lazy sample. They do actually like add string arrangements and stuff that go really well with it, but it is kind of, the chorus is just the like singing over that sample, so it is kind of a little bit lazy, but it's still a really good song, so I don't really care anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Getting towards the end of the track list now, there's also Hallucinate. That's probably my least favourite of the first 9. It's pretty good. It reminds me of like some Girls Aloud type 2000s UK pop. Some of the singing reminds me of that. It has a good ramped up beat to begin with that gets the energy back after the song before it. So most of what I've seen so far is that the first 9 songs are extremely good wall-to-wall bangers, and then the last 2 kind of kill all momentum. I don't agree fully. I think the 10th song, Good in Bed, is pretty cool too. It kills all of the disco musicianship of the album. This Good in Bed is not a disco pop or dance pop song in any regard. It's like a weird off-kilter piano-based like sarcastic, sardonic song.
Yeah, like that one definitely stood out to me. Like I don't even know why necessarily. Like maybe it's just because it like gets explicitly sexual after the rest of the songs. I mean, like it's not a chaste album by any means, but it's like you don't really get this kind of just like frankness about it anywhere else on the album, I think.
I mean, physical. We all know what that really means,
Well,
but
yeah.
it's a veiled meaning. But this is like suddenly, like unashamedly sexual. That song, which is fine.
Yeah, but
and it actually, even though it's kind of annoyingly catchy, like the ba 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 parts.
Yeah,
like,
a little bit.
it's like kind of annoying, but it's actually one of the catchier songs on the album. It's definitely one of the weaker songs, but honestly, it's like pretty good. And the meaning's pretty valid to explore. It's like this relationship does not work apart from sexually. It's like, why are you there other than that? It's like exploring that a little bit. Kind of topics that Lily Allen kind of addressed back in the day. So I've seen some comparisons with her from many people. That's an okay song. Then the last song, Boys Will Be Boys, that's a very valid message as well. I can see why she put this on the album. It's like, the chorus says boys will be boys, but girls will be women. It's like, girls have to grow up quicker than boys in a patriarchal society. They have to worry about unseen things, even if there's stuff that's not there. There's always the danger of not knowing. It's always getting home before dark. She says herself putting keys for knuckles, sort of like to keep people away. Girls have to grow up faster than boys, and like the chorus, boys will be boys. It's like excusing unacceptable behaviour. That's a very admirable message in a song, right?
Yeah, it seems like this is something that's on the minds of a lot of women these days, like for good reason. Because we just had Taylor Swift with The Man on Lover last year, and then the music video earlier this year.
Yeah.
And then it's just like a topic that comes up every now and then.
It seems like a topic that comes up almost on every album we cover from a female artist. fair enough. And Dua Lipa herself has said, like, she is always there for female empowerment, but this is her first song that explicitly addresses that. It's a really admirable message, and I can see why she wants to put it at the end of the album for, keeping the message with you, like, once you finished it, like, in mind. It's just the worst song on the album musically, though. It is just like a really, like, bum note ballad to me. It's not actually fun to listen to. The chorus is still kind of catchy by, like, chance almost. It's a really good message, and the lyrics are kind of clever. I just don't think it's any fun to listen to.
Yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. Like I expected there to be like another, club banger or something to bring the mood back up because I'm like, there's nothing else like this on the album. Is this really what it's going to end on? And like the more I thought about it and the more I re-listened to the album, the more it like made sense just like as you said to just leave you with something meaningful and something to think about. But at the same time, it just like comes completely out of nowhere. It's completely different from the mood and sound of the rest of the album. So it's like it's just hard to resolve those two things.
Yeah, and even coming off of the explicit Good in Bed was a bit off kilter. Like, if it came out of even just Break My Heart, because even that
Yeah.
says, like, being in relationships that went bad and, like, should have stayed at home. There are a few lyrics that kind of correlate with this a little bit more than Good in Bed. I think the first 9 songs are sequenced really, really well. I think, Don't Start Now coming out of the title track is genius. I really love how Pretty Please comes out with a jam-packed Levitating out of nowhere. Like, the sequencing on this album is killer, but then these last 2 songs, even if they're not bad songs, because they're not exactly bad songs, but they're just kind of view them not as the album, kind of. They just feel like they were in different sessions, which they might have been. I mean,
Yeah. I feel like Good in Bed might have fared better if it was in the middle somewhere.
but it's not disco at all.
No, but like you could hear, like just like you go from some of the great songs to Good in Bed, which is like okay, that was kind of weird, but then you're back into the great songs, and it still wouldn't be as good as those, but at least you can kind of like forget about it. But then it does stand out when you have it right at the end.
It's not even bad, it's just it feels a little bit out of place. And apparently there was like another 10 songs or so that were more in the new disco dance pop vein that have even been released in the sort of bootleg form as future nostalgia B-sides, similar to like Emotion B-sides. Sure, we might see those and see the light of day in like a deluxe edition package. I have a feeling that a lot of those will be more enjoyable to return to than these last 2 songs. But overall, I'd say this album is an exceptional release. How would you rate it, Cam?
I am going to give this one a tentative 7.5. I'm very close to considering buying it as soon as, the air is breathable and I can leave my house again. So, like, I might hold out until, deluxe edition is released, should that ever come.
That might be a good idea.
But yeah, like you said, the first 9 tracks, basically no faults. But at the same time, I don't know, it's just missing a certain something. I don't really know what. Like, maybe I wish there was more because it's only like 37 minutes long. It's such a nice, taut, breezy listen that I'm sure if, I listened to it more and songs, more of the songs stuck with me, then I could conceivably bump it up to an 8. And then those last 2 will always be kind of a blemish, but not big enough to, bring it down significantly.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Cam, except to a lesser degree of being bothered by the last 2. I would say the first 9 songs are some of the best pop songs I've heard in years, some of them, and it's just a great sequence of songs that I enjoy. Good in Bed is a bit lesser, but it's still pretty good, and Boys Will Be Boys. Gotta respect the message, not too keen on the music side of it, being a sort of bum note ballad, but like I say, wall to wall, great songs, faultless, just really excellent. I think Levitating might be in my favourite pop songs list if I really had to think about it. I'm gonna give this a 9 out of 10.
Wow.
I just feel like 9 great songs should get 9 out of 10.
Fair enough.
I'm so excited
Okay.
to see what she'll do next. I mean, this is like I say, a quantum leap from her first album. This is beyond what I thought possible from that point already. So it's only up and up from here. Hopefully, third album, hopefully we'll get it before half a decade's passed. I mean, who knows? I feel like maybe 2023, maybe, something like that. She's still got to tour this, and that's going to be delayed a year, so who knows? Anyway, I'm just immensely happy with this. This was my most anticipated album of the year, and it came out really great. So, yeah, really happy with this.
Okay, thanks for tuning into Busted Speakers, everybody. Check us out on Facebook, and you can follow us on Twitter @_Busted Speakers, and you can follow me on Twitter @SubProspector. If you want to see more of our music reviews, you can subscribe, and if you like this video, leave us a like. It really encourages us, because that's all we have right now. Please leave us a like.
It's all we have left.
And thanks for being here, and we will see you all next time. Bye.
See ya.